Hey, welcome to Hoagie time, everybody. We got our very first guest, Mr. Pat House, is in the building with us tonight.
Welcome, Pat.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
It's great to have you.
It's great to be here, man. I'm super excited.
I get such a thrill out of introducing friends that don't know each other yet. Like
we
you and
for
Mike.
sure met forever ago,
Absolutely,
though, but I'm talking like 10 years or more.
Yeah, I remember. I remember meeting
It could
you,
have
and
been
then
Maggie's, it could have been anywhere, but I
Yeah.
know for certain.
But I always checked you out, and I saw you all the kind of success you've had as a comedian, as a nationally touring comedian. Very, very cool. So I checked you out from afar, but I just couldn't get backstage to meet.
No, yeah,
so.
You got to know people. I'm happy to be here, guys. The other day I listened to every episode in the car on the road to a gig, and I swear to God, for 20 minutes I was behind a Wawa truck, and I was like, "This is the most fitting thing ever." And on one episode, I texted you this the other day. You guys mentioned something that I laughed my balls off at. You guys talked about going to Top 10 and stealing guitar tabs and writing them down. I did the same shit at George's Music for years. I remember getting yelled at for I thought it was being discreet, but I'm like 12 and probably wasn't. I had the songbook open and I was like writing shit in my notebook, and the guy goes, "Can you not do that?
Yeah.
Can you buy it?" And I will never forget, it was Sunday, Bloody Sunday, I was writing down.
That riff.
4-3-2-0-2-3-2-0.
I looked at it for so long. And I'm like, okay, it's this, and then it's like a D chord, and then you just move your fingers. My brain could not remember that. I needed to see the numbers.
Yeah.
But you guys mentioned lifting tabs essentially, and I was like, oh my God, I did that too.
Every musician I feel did that, and that you're also a musician. Mm-hmm. You did comedy but you've been playing guitar for how long?
30 years.
Oh, wow.
I'm
Okay.
37. I got my first guitar when I was probably 7 or 8.
And where'd you grow up? Where are you from?
Springfield.
Springfield?
Right by the Springfield Mall. St. Kevin's, O'Hara, Temple.
Gotcha.
St. Kevin's, O'Hara, Temple, Paxton Hollow.
Then the Paxton Hollow. The Delco
the art.
Mafia.
Yeah, that's perfect. Pat, you've sat in with me a few times over the years. Plenty of times.
Yeah.
My gigs at Barnaby's, we'll do some Beatles songs or whatever. Always a lot of fun.
Oh, it's a blast, dude, because you pretty much have only been my musical outlet. I mean, we don't play together often, but we have 5 or 6 songs you and I always go to.
Yeah.
But I don't really jam with friends too often, but I know when I see you and pop at one of your gigs, I'll get 2 or 3 songs in, and I love it because I don't get the chance to do that often. So
that's awesome. Are you a Beatles guy?
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So am I. Like that. It started there and then just stemmed elsewhere, but yeah,
from your parents, or did you discover on your own?
No, I discovered the Beatles in 7th grade, and it was just like boom, something about the just the songwriting, the harmonies, and then I just studied them. I read every book I possibly read, learned
there's
every
a
song.
ton out there for them too, an obscene amount of Beatles.
Yeah, in 8th grade, I wore the circle glasses. And everyone's like that. In the 8th grade yearbook, I was the 5th Beatle. That was what I was going to be when I grew up.
I still think of you as that. The 5th Beatle.
Little Lennon. No, I have my hair long and everything, but yeah, and then I loved. I mean, the early stuff, the craftsmanship of the songwriting, the "I Want to Hold Your Hand," "I Feel Fine," that stuff. But I really got into the. I Am the Walrus, Strawberry Fields, the
weirder shit,
the weirder stuff, A Day in the Life,
yeah.
and I'm like, whoa.
But also, if you listen to Live at the BBC and their older stuff, they had so many covers. They covered Motown, they covered Buddy Holly. Oh man, that old shit before when they were figuring shit out is really cool too.
Yeah,
because they were essentially kind of a cover band way back when,
right?
And they
the Hamburg days.
In Germany, and they have so many awesome covers. So people don't even take that into consideration when they say they're a Beatles fan. They just like the Beatles, but man, it's almost like, to me, the Beatles had their own catalog, and then all of the other shit they covered. There's probably just as many songs on both sides of the field.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they had a 6 to 8 year career before I Want to Hold Your Hand, 64, before they had Sullivan Show. So they were they were playing the Quarrymen. They were doing the Cavern Club and all that stuff, and all the Hamburg stuff. But they really kind of they honed their chops. They didn't just show up and and they just didn't become the Beatles.
They were doing like 4 sets a day in Germany too, which you're really, I mean, as a comic, the more you do your set, and you guys know as musicians, you just get tighter and tighter and better. So I mean,
Right.
if I do 5 shows in a weekend, I can structure a bit and get it better and tighter. But if you're doing 4 sets a day, playing the same songs, you're just going to be so tight.
Yeah. That's funny. You said that. Even around here, not until like the late 90s, sometime in the 90s, bands, like when you play down the shore, like on Pacific Avenue in Wildwood, like the bands from the 70s and even the 80s, they would hire them for a week. And that was their residency for a week. Like the whole, like one spot off kind of things only started in the 90s, where you'd be in say we had a gig in Wildwood at the beach house, and then you'd be in Dewey Beach the next beach. It wasn't like that kind of just started in the late 90s. But just like that, like back when they were doing the Hamburg days, they were the band there for like maybe the week or month.
And each night they played for like 6 or 7
Played
hours.
for hours.
It's not like the standard 3-hour type gigs that you wouldn't see a band booked for these days.
Exactly,
Like a cover bar band. I mean, it'd be like 6 or 7 hours. Like a long ass time. So they had all those covers.
I remember Mr. Green Jeans, like their top cover band around here. They were the only band, they dictated their set. Like they were the only, like everybody else had to play like 3-hour-long sets. They said, no, we do 2-hour and 15s. And they were just so fucking hot. The clubs were just like, all right.
The clubs.
Yeah.
I love
the
playing
nightclubs.
Yeah.
So, but that's awesome. Yeah. So did you play in a band or anything like at O'Hara?
Like, I was in the marching band freshman year playing
Holla.
the trumpet.
Yeah.
Like yes and no. First, I had a drum set from 13 to 20, so I was the drummer in a band in high school. But we didn't play too often. We never played a real gig. It was just fun at my parents' house.
Right.
And that was pretty much the extent of it. I was never in like a band,
Yeah.
but I mean, I was always, God, man, from like ages 10 to 18, I was playing guitar 6 hours a day. That's like all I did.
It's funny because like when people ask like, I want to play guitar, what's the first thing I should do? And they're talking to me now. I'm like, dude, the first thing to do is start doing it when you're 13 or 14, when you have 8 hours a day. Because you need to, if you're going to learn anything, you need to put 8 hours a day those first 2 or 3 years.
What was the first riff you guys ever learned?
Steve Miller Band, The Joker. Or, no, if it wasn't that, it was Sunshine of Your Love by Cream.
Okay.
Oh, that's pretty advanced, dude. I'm doing Come As You Are.
Bump, bump, bump,
Do,
bump,
do,
bump,
do,
bump.
do.
Apologies,
dim,
you got the
dim, dim,
Nirvana
dim,
thing
dim.
going.
I can.
It was Cliffs and Dover, but I don't want to brag. Yeah.
I could still. It's speaking of tablature. 01200202020120. Thanks, Chris from Top 10.
And I
Shout
could
out
say
Chris
those
Warner.
numbers in my head because I had the Nevermind songbook. Remember
Yeah.
songbooks?
Yeah.
Like they
It
were.
was pre-internet.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I had every Foo Fighters one, every Green Day one, every Smashing Pumpkins one.
This Bruce picture in the background, that's actually a songbook. But
no
somebody
kidding.
gave it to me, and I appreciate it because it's awesome art. But I don't need the tablet, the music anymore.
You have such an earnest love for photography and art.
Well, I'm a photographer first,
yeah.
and a dancer second, musician third, and a comic fourth. But so would you consider yourself, comic musician, or do you think? I think both tie together pretty well because
They do tie together because we all have friendships. I mean, there is comedians and musicians have been friends for like decades. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I mean, I consider myself a musician, but that's just for fun for me,
Right.
And also when I see him and we dick around on a couple songs.
Yeah, that's
but I mean, like,
Yeah, mental illness really brings people together.
yeah, it does, seriously.
It absolutely does. But it's funny with my music, like as a kid, kind of, I'd be a jokester and all that. And then when I kind of started playing, it was real serious to me. And then it felt like when I hit about 30 and the crowds got a little smaller and I was playing smaller places, like just bars on a corner, you needed to, and the numbers dwindled. So you got to sometimes you walk in the bar between 30 and 40 years old, there's 10 to 15 people there. And you're like, all right, that's when I kind of brought back the only way I can win this small room over is to talk to them a little bit, laugh with them. And I started doing that in the last 10 years or so because I needed to, or else the gigs were just going to there was just going to be no, movement in the audience at all.
You
So,
evolve, or you're just gonna. It's over.
Evolve
You
or
gotta
die. Yeah.
Evolve or die. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm doing the same thing now with my career because I just joined TikTok. I don't want to be on TikTok. I want to be a stand-up comic. But people are posting 30 to 60 second clips every day, and it's working for some people. So fuck, I have to do it. I have to do it.
I'm
bitching about it.
Yeah,
but like
I got to figure it out. It moves too fast for me.
I mean, I dabble a little bit.
You're pretty good.
Do you think it's actually helpful for performance, whether it's music or comedy, or do you think it takes it away? Do you think people get so? And let me just finish that thought. Do you think people get so used to the 5-second bite-sized chunks that they're almost conditioned to not sit through a whole thing, or do you think that gives them a nice little preview and then they come out and enjoy the night?
I think it's a preview because there are a handful of comics like Andrew Schultz or like Stavros, who's a Baltimore comic I've known forever, that developed a following from TikTok because they post these clips, and they're short clips, but then people go to see them, so they sell out clubs, and even Schultz is doing the Borgata in the big room, the event center, and then, they see 10 seconds here, a minute here, a minute there. You're still doing an hour show for them. So they don't know everything, but they're like, hey, this guy's funny. We're going to go see him. So I feel like it draws people in.
No, it certainly hasn't hurt the crowds of comedy clubs, right?
No, but it's just such a weird dynamic. Like, it's like a full-time job. In addition, it's like you're posting
24
on
hours a
social
day.
media, you're editing your clips, you're uploading your clips, you're thinking of hashtags, you hope people like them. And then you're on social media, and you're on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And then you're like, fuck. Now I got to go be the comedian and do my real show. It's like another full-time job.
Yeah. And then you get home, and I'm sure being a comedian is a lot like being a musician. Like, it seems like you're so open and you're on stage and you're funny and you're outward. But then the minute you get in your car, it's like it's quiet. You want quiet. And then
100%.
And now with the TikTok and all, you got to be back. You get home from the gig at
Had
midnight.
a really fun show tonight.
Exactly.
Hashtag Cleveland.
When really all of us, like,
hope
all of us comedians, we're a little dark and like where we don't feel like it. But now with the TikTok, you need to be on all, from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. And it's kind of the opposite of who we are, when we're home.
Yeah, I feel like comedians and musicians we're in the spotlight, but we're all a little reserved. Like, I don't love attention. I like it when on my terms when I'm on stage or I greet the crowd after a show. But then once that shit is done, I can't. Like, I'm done.
Right.
I'm done. I'm spent.
Yeah. Like, I mean, of course I like to hang out before and after and whatever, but it's completely separate. Like, we're not doing a show because we crave attention that
And
bad. It's
people
just
don't
what we do.
understand
No,
It's
they
just what
think
we
like,
do.
it's awesome, isn't it? Like, and it is. Like, I wanted to make it seem like, it's such a horrible thing, but it's not. It's not. You don't feel like, isn't it so awesome out there? I'm like, it was in high school. Like, but it's just like anything where it becomes it goes from.
Anything with a little bit of like being in the spotlight, like anything, whether you're famous or successful or not, like people want to be the guitarist on stage, they want to be the comic on stage, and it's fun, it really is. But like, sometimes I go back to my hotel and like I'll be on stage and I'm tired, and all I want to do is just go back to my hotel and watch Netflix. Like that's honestly all I want to do.
Question for you. So, what was the process from like starting out? In Philadelphia and all that, and then meeting Sebastian Maniscalco and opening up for him, like that's gigantic. He's the biggest comedian in the world. I've seen him. Great show, by the way. I saw him in Atlantic City. So what's the process from Philly to that?
Well, it's different for everybody. I met Sebastian here at Helium in Philadelphia. I was just the opening comic at Helium. So me and Sebastian was not famous yet. Those shows were not sold out. He was just the headliner, and I was booked randomly as the host. And then we just hit it off. Like we didn't. He's pretty quiet. We didn't say a whole lot, but he thought I was funny, and he goes, "Hey, do you travel for this job?" I'm like, "A little bit, but I want to get out there more." He's like, "All right, do Cleveland with me next month." So then he brought me out to Cleveland, and then I met Tom Segura in Portland, Oregon, at that Helium, and that really hit something off because. Snow canceled 3 of our 6 shows, so me and Tom were hanging at the hotel.
I thought you meant the rapper.
Canadian reggae rapper.
That's it.
What did I say?
Informer. Snow.
He said Snow canceled the shows. Who gave him that authority?
Oh,
He only had the one hit. How is he in the driver's seat here canceling shows?
That one's
A licky
over
boom
my
boom now. Informer.
You know, said that I must know me, I go blame him.
So Snow, like the actual weather.
They took the money,
actual-
said that I must know missteps. Somebody down the lane. I know the words.
Portland doesn't get snow, so
True.
2 inches of
Rain.
snow,
Yeah.
2 inches of snow shut that city down, and that wouldn't have been a 2-hour delay for us.
Yeah.
But Portland shut down. So Tom and I hung at the hotel a lot. He's like, well, this sucks. Open for me when I'm in Philly again. So I'm all right. So I opened for Tom in Philly. And then Tom took me everywhere. I mean, Phoenix, St. Louis. He loaded my calendar up for 3 years.
Wow.
So I just got that by being the opening act and being funny and not being a dick.
That helps.
So it's literally networking, not being an asshole.
I always thought that was really cool.
Really
how
fucking all it is.
Networking.
Don't be an asshole. Do your time. If the club says do 30 minutes, you do 30 minutes.
Right.
People are like notorious for going under or over. No, you do what the club tells you to do, and you're not a dick, and shit will work out.
How do you deal with the hecklers? I mean, I'm sure you've had a bunch.
I've had a
handful. A handful, yeah. I mean,
so
you always got to.
Infrequent. I always feel like movies and TV make it seem like you're going to a comedy club and someone's going, "You suck" in the back, dude. It's so infrequent.
Yeah.
But each heckler story is different. I mean, I like to break them down. What have you been drinking tonight? What's your deal? Who you here with? Just figure it out, and then I don't go right.
And then you have your ammunition if you need it.
Yeah, each one's so different because sometimes they like yell at weird parts of the set. Maybe it's like the specific bit you're doing, But it's so people think it happens all the time.
And also with comedy, I heard like they don't like it when you jump to the front. You got to do your time as far as years in too. Like the comedy clubs and stuff like that. There's kind of like an unwritten thing that you kind of got to put 5-10 years in before you kind of jump anybody's spot. Like,
I mean, there's no rhyme or reason. Some people
do, I guess.
Success happens at different rates and different rates for people, different ways and different rates. But I mean, you got to pay your dues. I mean, we all talk shit when somebody who's been in a year does something cool. You're like, this fucking guy, you know?
Right.
It's probably the same thing in music, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't wish anyone well.
Yeah. It's funny being from Delco. It's funny because even with Hef and my buddy Pat Smith, who I played in a part, being from Delaware County, like there was this cover band scene that I was in for a while, and they're all fucking lovey-dovey to each other. I'm like, dude, I didn't grow up like that. Like, I think you guys, like, I'm trying to fucking beat you guys. Like, and they're all hanging out on their off nights, and they check it out, and this guy sings with this guy. I'm like, I never felt like maybe that's why I was never included in the scene, but I always had a little chip on my shoulder. Like, I want to beat that band, But that's just.
I feel like that's kind of the same thing in stand-up too. I feel like it's inevitable.
Yeah.
I mean, jealousy, a little bit of competition.
Sure, competition's good.
But at the same time, like, there's also like different kinds of bands, different kind of comics. So if I see a comic who's killing it, I'm like, good for them. I can't do that. I'm not going to be that. I'm not going to match that. I don't want that.
Right.
So there's all different kinds of
and especially
shit
like
that factors in.
One of the big differences from what you do and like say what we do is we have some original music, but like majority of my gigs is I'm playing someone else's music.
Yes.
And I'm trying to do the best version or a cool enough version and just kind of create a cool atmosphere. You're up there. There's no covers when it comes to. Don't tell Mencia that, but there's no. Do you know what I? Okay, I'm sure there's plenty, but like you're doing all. The idea is you are presenting yourself.
Yeah.
It's not who does this bit the best. It's who wrote this bit, who developed this bit.
Yeah.
I think that's
and
awesome.
I'm not hiding behind my guitar like a coward. I'm saying my words. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's. I mean, and you know what? I've been doing this.
Tommy. Thanks, pal.
I've been doing this for essentially coming up on 20. I'm almost at 18 years, but 20's around the corner. And I swear to God, I'm not exaggerating. At least once a week, I get who writes your stuff, and I'm like, Jesus Christ on the cross. Like, where does this concept come from? My whole act is about my life.
Yeah.
It's my parents.
Yeah.
Awkward situations.
Yeah.
Bartending for years. Everything is 100% autobiographical.
Yeah.
And people are like, who writes your stuff? Like, fuck off.
Yo, I just thought of a great idea.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yo, I'm going to become a cover comedian.
They're out there too,
cover
man,
Pat
believe
stuff.
me.
But don't tell him.
It'll be a Pat House tribute act.
You know, it'd be hilarious.
And I'll go on right before you.
If I just see you at Barnaby's on a Sunday and you like do like 3 minutes of my set, like I would fucking love that. I would laugh so hard.
I play some of his songs sometimes if I know he's there, and I'll say they're mine. Just to see if I get it right.
Pat, I think I did that before at Barnaby's. I think I said one of your jokes about, definitely, because I feel like I know what it is.
Probably have.
While you were there to see if I could get your attention.
You know what I did way early in my
He had
career?
his head deep in pussy. He didn't hear
Yeah,
it.
but you were too busy eating pussy in the back.
I haven't done this in a long, long time, but when I was like really doing open mics a lot, if I had like a really bad set and like bombed, I would just say my name was another shitty like comic. Be like, my name's Alan Kay. Have a good night, guys. I did that so many times.
Shout out Alan K.
Yeah. Sorry, pal.
I don't even know if he's
So
still
what's
alive.
the process like of like writing a set? You're just kind of you're thinking of jokes like in your quiet time, and you kind of and do you think of like 3 or 4 funny things that are like a 20-second scale, and then you kind of build on it and write it down?
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place. I mean, thank you. Thanks,
HT.
I always have
me.
new stuff I'm trying to throw in there. Always have new stuff I'm trying to throw in there, and I'm trying to tell longer chunks too. So like, if my stepdad was really sick in the hospital for a month, I could think of 5 funny things that happened that month when he was in the hospital, and I try to combine them all into one.
Gotcha. So yeah.
I'm pretty big on organization as of lately because I want like a cohesive, smooth set. Like the way like jokes about my parents will flow into jokes about me, and the jokes about me are personal, but then I'll take it into my day job. Like I love segues and I love smooth.
Mm-hmm.
I hate when a comedian is like talking about hoagies 1 minute and then Pepsi the next minute, and then is talking
Right.
about Florida the next minute. You're like, this. There's no cohesiveness to this.
Yeah.
Unless you're
I
having
love-
lunch in Florida.
I love smooth.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of I've read a lot. Some people will the arc is important too, kind of like the arc of a story, and then a lot of other comedians and even writing music. Tense release, tension release. And I've heard that also with comedians. They'll work a crowd that way to kind of make something, then let them relax.
I've heard
let
that
them breathe.
before.
Yeah.
What's funny is what's unexpected. Like that's kind of the
mi-
root of the joke.
Misdirection is a huge. That's why.
Yeah, okay.
I love David Tell.
Misdirection,
David
yeah.
Tell is the king of misdirection.
Yeah.
So many. He sets you up. He's like da ba ba, and then bam, the punchline has nothing to do with anything you heard in the setup, and I fucking love that stuff. I'm not really too hot at that, but like,
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of it.
So in your career, it kind of, what would you say? Locally, like open mics, that was the first 5 years, and then how long did the national and into now?
I was open mics for probably open mics hard. Like, I was out 6 nights a week, and in Philly when I first started out, I could get on stage 8 to 10 times a week in Philadelphia. So I would say the first 7 or 8 years were very open mic heavy. And then at about year 9 or 10, I started hitting the road more and more. And for the past 6 or so years, the road's been 85% of my work.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really and when you're on the road, you're hotels and are you kind of solo? Are you by yourself? Are you with other comics on the
I
bill?
tour with, over
yeah.
the years, I've toured with a lot of comics like Sebastian and Tom Segura, Dan Cummins, Brad Williams. So I'm traveling by myself, but
Sure, yeah.
I will see a lot of the same people in these various.
That's great. That's awesome.
It's
And I would imagine you can kind of be funny, but the 10 years of work that it tends to put in to go from okay to really good, I would imagine a lot of that 10 years is really fleshing things out on stage and learning about the subtleties of the pause.
Yeah,
and
oh,
when
God, yes.
It's just a very, very
Yep.
feather
Dynamics.
touch.
The
But also,
dynamics are huge.
I'm
in
not
the
going
joke.
to say I have my doubts and insecurities. I'm not going to say I'm a good comic because I can't give myself that credit.
Neither will we, Pat.
But the road makes you good. I mean,
Yeah.
I was in Philly for 10 years hard, got up a million times, but doing the road makes you good. People in Portland, Oregon are different from people here. People in Florida are different from people in Des Moines, Iowa. So when you hit these markets and be like, okay, this city does not like anything edgy or potentially offensive. You're like, okay, I don't want to bomb, so I'll figure out how to work this crowd.
Right.
Or you see cities that are just animals and you can't be dirty enough. So but you really learned how to make your act universal, and was really fun.
Oh,
It
that's
was really fun.
So it's developing more tools, a variety of tools in your toolbox and
Having a
your
skill
toolkit.
set, and then also let's say you're in, I don't know, Omaha, the Funny Bone, and you're
somewhere in the
bombing.
middle of America.
Yeah, get right to the heart of the matter.
The heart that
Part that
matters.
matters more.
So, which places if you can name a few are your favorite that you wouldn't think here from we're growing up in Delaware County, you think that everything is the Atlantic City, Philly,
Actually,
New York, whatever. What's just some of your
the
favorite?
Des Moines Funny Bone. I
Yeah.
love that club. I've done that
Okay.
club 3 times. I love it there. I love Tacoma Comedy Club. I love the Seattle area, but that club is great too.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole bunch of heliums like St. Louis, Indianapolis, Portland, Buffalo. They're all good rooms. They're all good clubs.
Okay.
Most cities are good, but historically, Virginia and I have a beef. I've done
Isn't it the-
Williamsburg, Virginia Beach.
Well, they're not over the war.
I've done a handful of shit in Virginia, and like
King's Dominion, isn't that?
King's Dominion, you can't miss it off 95.
You certainly
Virginia.
can't.
And Bubba Chuck's from Virginia. He doesn't strike me as someone with a. Actually, he's pretty funny. They say Allen Iverson. Why do every podcast go back to Allen Iverson? But he's from Virginia.
We didn't bring
knew
up
that.
we didn't bring up the Bernardi at this episode, so let me do that. Let me do that right now. Shout out Bernards.
So Virginia, huh? Like that just.
And it's nothing. It's just I don't know. More weird nights there than I should have had. That's all.
Yeah.
Is it
Like,
that the sets don't
You know, they're
translate, or
fucking dumb. That's what it is.
yeah?
They're just not smart. Like if they went to school longer.
I have a joke about commas because I have a couple things about punctuation, but I have a joke in particular about commas that I think is very funny and works about everywhere. I was in Virginia Beach 2 months ago, and on the Thursday show, that comma joke bombed so bad, I immediately know we're not going to do that the next 5 shows. We're just going to put that on the back burner all weekend because they can't handle it.
So then you just went into the fart set.
Yeah,
and killed.
just nothing but queef material.
HT, our producer, he's the worst punctuation and grammar I've ever seen. Like we'll release some of the
What a
video,
sweet
like,
boy.
He's a sweet boy, but there's like a capitalization here. There's like an undercase. I'm like,
I
what?
get that. We each have their own stuff. I'm like such a grammar Nazi. Like my texts have semicolons in the right spot.
Even when even when I'm in fights, like and stuff, like the first episode, the fight with the girl, my punctuation was perfect. I'm fucking blacked out. But God damn it, I'll embarrass myself, but I won't misspell a word.
I hear you on that. Be like, you're a bitch, semicolon. And let me tell you one more thing, ellipses. Like,
Look how dumb ellipses are. They gotta
Yo, dude.
as their producer.
Yeah, dude. Oh yeah, so what? So that's so what? This is off limits now. There's a real disability here, so now it's off limits and shit. I'm gonna dig in harder. Now you've done it.
Shout out to people with problems everywhere.
Yeah, shout out all learning disabilities. What up?
peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, what up? What up? Yeah, if you've ever texted with me, I misspell everything the first pass, but then everything is a fucking footnote with an asterisk, and I'm like, this is what I really meant to say. My phone autocorrects come, C-O-M-E,
Dude.
to Coke.
Oh, well, that's because I
Every
usually.
time I'm talking, hey, are you going to Coke over later? And people are like, dude, what the fuck?
No,
Ease up.
I've had that a few times.
Your
in the last
heart's
few
gonna
weeks,
explode, Mike. You're like,
But
no, I don't
to
mean that.
me, like it might have been what I sent someone last night. So I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah,
phone
dude.
can't get-
I don't really even drink soda. I don't get it.
My phone can't get set, S-E-T, because as a comic, how was your set? I have a set tonight. It puts sit. And it's like, I say this word 55 times a day into my phone.
Yeah.
Set. It's set. It's set.
I thought you were going to say
Drives me
sex.
nuts.
And that would have been weird with like, a family
Drives
member.
me absolutely bananas.
Yeah.
And comics, it puts with a C-O-M-I-X.
So it just looks like you're just trying to spell it zany.
Yeah, it kind of means like, yeah, I fucks with him. You know,
Yeah.
And I
at
can't let it
comics.
go. I'm like, I'm
They're
not
my
gonna send it
boys.
like that. I can't. That's
But it looks like you're like, or like you're taking liberties with the spelling to like
Yeah,
be
like-
like fucking
Yeah. Cool
interesting
or
or,
some shit. I'm
or
like,
stupid.
no.
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's awesome. Where like upcoming this summer? Where have you been so far? And what's coming up on the?
I was in San
Horizon.
Francisco 2 weeks ago at the San Fran Punchline. That's that might be like my favorite club
Hmm.
in America, like number one.
A lot of gays or
What'd you say?
a lot of gays there, or is that just a?
I mean, in
Is
San
that an
Fran
old
in
wives'
general,
tale?
yes.
Okay. They're not great people. Very fun.
It's a beautiful town. I love everything about San Fran.
I'm single right now. I'm not good in relationships, but I'm thinking, man, if I was gay, it would be the best. And I'm not. But I'd have a lot of friends. Now I have no one to go out with. I have no friends. The friends I do have are negative. Like they're just. But if I were gay, we would be going to the gym. We'd be in shape.
Still hang out with them. Hit us up on Hoagie Time Podcast at Gmail. Gay guys out there, hit us up. We'll hang out. Take us out. Show us out on
Yeah,
the town.
take us out. That could be a Patreon.
Not interested, but we can certainly be friends.
I mean, I don't know. I could be. We'll see. But so San Francisco. Sorry, I got a little. I don't
it's
know.
okay.
I might want to move there.
Just there. I had a very busy spring, but the fall's good. I haven't said this yet, but I'm headlining Helium in November.
Oh, exclusive. You heard it here first, everybody.
You did hear it here first.
Exclusive.
Hashtag
Hoagie time
Hoagie time.
exclusive.
You did hear it first. I used
Pat House
Hoagie
at
time
Helium.
for my big press conference. And I'm headlining the Helium in Indianapolis in September and October, and the Harrisburg Comedy Zones. The fall's looking really good.
That's great.
Fall's
Pat.
really good.
Helium. You've said that they're national.
Yes, the club started here in Philly in 2005. Then they branched out to Portland, Oregon, Buffalo, St. Louis, Indianapolis, and they bought the comedy clubs in Raleigh and now Austin, Texas.
Wow.
So there's North Jersey. So they have pretty good thing going now. Started as one, and now there's like 8 or 9.
Is there one dude that owns them all?
Yes.
Yeah. Is he funny?
Not funny, no, but he's a very good
Business guy,
Yeah.
And
a champion of the funny.
Yes, which is just as important, you know.
Pat,
we all need powerful friends.
I'm noticing your tattoo on your arm, and it's making me want to give it a shot. You've got a couple really good tattoos that I know about.
Really good?
That I know
That's
about.
the nicest thing anybody's ever
Really
said about.
good. I'm easily entertained.
What is it, a dragon or
I
something?
got the Foo Fighters one there. And does he know?
I don't think he does. Show him. No, Mike, what were we about to say?
I'll suck it.
No, man, that's not what we're saying. Yeah. Sue Studio.
Sue Studio.
Yeah, and I actually have a bit where I show the crowd that, and they go ape shit. And it's so fun. It makes the crowd laugh. It makes me laugh because it's ridiculous.
That's
but
awesome.
like, nothing beats just like doing 20 minutes of killer stand up, telling my point of view, and then telling them about me, and then be like, "Hey, one time I was drunk in Denver," and then whip out a Phil Collins tattoo, and the crowd goes ape shit.
Yeah, and there's a bigger payoff there than any of the
Oh, it's
meticulously crafted jokes, setups.
You're like, it took me 3 years to write this act, and it's doing well, but I show them this, and they're like banging the table, and glasses are flying.
That's when you transition to the fart set.
Yeah.
Keep it more lowbrow.
Are Foo Fighters big band for you?
Oh God, yeah.
I was playing a gig in Philly at Con Murphy's, and it's just like a solo
On the Parkway?
Yep, right there. Yeah, 17th in the Parkway.
Yep.
So I'm playing a solo acoustic gig, and all of a sudden this dude comes in, blonde hair, and he's fucking wrecked. Like, and there's not many people there. Like, there's probably 20 to 30 people. He's wrecked. He's got this big old burger, like the size of this hoagie, and he's got fries, and he's got a 16, it looked like it could have been even 24-ounce mug, filled to the top in a Jameson. And he's just sitting there. He's a skinny guy. Like, you can tell he was in a band. And I'm kind of looking. I'm like, dude, it looks like fucking the drummer from the Foo Fighters. And all of a sudden, Taylor Hawkins.
Rest in peace, Taylor Hawkins.
A real rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Taylor Hawkins.
And I'm looking, I'm kind of like behind him where I'm like kind of looking at it, and I'm like, oh, it's him. And I'm looking at the back of his hair. And he had awesome, stringy, long hair. Like, only the
Did it
rock
look
stars
healthy,
have.
the hair?
The hair looked great. He didn't look healthy. He was very skinny. And right when I was like thinking to get my my phone out to take a picture of that, he moved his arm and knocked the whole like 20-ounce, 24-minute mug all over the place. And the bartenders don't clean up, but everything got scattered for a second. And then they filled up another one, cleaned it up, and he just went right back into like his cheesesteak. And by that point, I knew it was him. Like, I saw the side of his face. So I took a picture, sent it to my boys, but went back on. But he obviously, I went on Google to see if Foo Fighters were playing anywhere, and they weren't. So I don't know what he was doing in town, but that's a hotel that it's next to. It's in a hotel
next to the Four Seasons.
Yes. So he was in town
He
for
was
something.
in the Coattail Riders. He had a couple side projects. over the
Gotcha.
years,
So yeah, but I remember, with everything
What
that
year was
happened.
this?
This was about 2000. It was right before the pandemic, so 18.
Oh, so relatively recent.
Relatively recent, yeah. But when all that happened, I was like, "Wow, he didn't look like he was whacked."
Wow.
In a drug way, but he was drinking a lot too, which is like, drug guys aren't really drinking, like, or maybe they do. I don't know, but I remembered he wasn't at his best,
Wow.
and then all that happened. And he's a fantastic drummer.
Oh my God, yeah.
Even before that, with Alanis Morissette, like those songs are timeless. That Jagged Little Pill,
That album is phenomenal.
phenomenal. Yeah,
Dude, Head Over Feet. Oh my
Head Over
God.
Feet. I still play that. I played those girl artists from like Alanis Morissette, Sheryl Crow leaving Las Vegas.
Jewel.
Has you guys seen the Sheryl Crow documentary? It's fucking
I
phenomenal.
just saw
I'm all over it. I
that there
haven't.
is one.
It is so good. I've always been a fan of her.
Likey.
What's it? Tuesday Night Music Club? Was that the album? Or
Yeah.
That was with All I Want to Do.
Oh, yep.
But
yep.
also the Cranberries, Dolores O'Riordan.
Yeah.
Shout out to Loris O'Riordan.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
But
Jewel. Fucking Foolish Games.
Jules?
Foolish Games is a sleeper epic song.
It's great. Yeah.
Jules' fucked up tooth
Yeah.
is so hot to me.
Yeah.
And I
Like-
like that she was like a thicker girl. Like she was a bad bitch back then. Like now, bad bitches like they're real thick, but back then that was the '90s version of a bad bitch.
Also, let's not forget, I think so Will Ferrell and Adam McKay own Funny or Die. Jewel was in, I think, their very first sketch. She went to a karaoke bar dressed in all makeup and a different outfit and sang her own song.
Oh, yeah?
And people were like, this chick's phenomenal. And she played Jewel songs.
She should be in a cover band.
And she was playing her own stuff in makeup, in character, in costume.
shit.
And I think that was the very first Funny or Die video.
I just watched on
that's cool.
Netflix. There's a train wreck. It's called. It's the documentary from Woodstock '99, and Jewel's in it.
Oh,
but
I
it's
saw that.
fucking. It's wild. It's
Fred Durst
with Fred
crowd surfing
Durst
on
and
the-
and he
Came
kinda,
so close to going to that, and I'm glad I
yeah,
didn't.
and if you watch it, the energy wasn't right from the beginning. It was just
It was
when
aggressive.
It was aggressive. It was just when music was changing a little bit. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of like playing football at Banter. And I graduated in 2000, so like the guys that were listening to Korn, they were it was kind of steroidish, like lifting and stuff like that. That stuff was important to guys, starting to get important to men, and it had that vibe. Like, and then Korn goes on, right? And Korn blind.
Yeah.
They go into it and they just see it, and everyone's like, dude, something's not right in the air. Something's not right in the air. This is not gonna.
It was like a tension building that you could
tension
feel.
building that you could feel, and they talk about it in the documentary. And it's, are you ready? And it was just a sea of maybe like 300,000 people all moving, like you're this way, and then you're 8 feet long. Like, it was,
will never
it's
forget
the
that
coolest
when that
thing I've ever
happened
seen, but it
live.
was also dangerous.
And then all those fires broke out during the Chili Peppers
Yeah.
set, and they tried to like blame them for that. They didn't instigate anything. They could Hendrix's fire
Yeah.
that night.
But
More
they,
coincidental than a call to set shit on
Yeah,
fire.
absolutely.
but it's worth a watch. What did I say it was called? Trainwreck. Yeah, Trainwreck. But Jewel's in there, and right away, to get back to Jewel, they're like, oh my God, we booked the wrong person for this. Like, she goes out there, who will save your soul? She played for like 20 minutes.
The crowd just like, show your beaver.
Yeah.
Fuck this. I remember, so I came super close to going. Shout out Mitch Stewart. He had an extra ticket. And this is 1999. No cell phones. So he's like, dude, we're leaving now.
You might not have had a cell phone.
We're leaving now. I didn't, Mike. Oh, you did. Well, yeah. And he's like, yo, we're leaving now. Like, you're in or you're out. And I'm like, I'm out. And then 2 minutes later, I'm like, I'm in. And I called.
Probably
He left his house.
Watching this, you made a good decision.
Made a great decision, dude. But I was at Ludaferio's house. Shout out Ludaferio. He had the a jailbroken. Speaking of one of the cable boxes that got all the pay-per-views that came in, and he had the pay-per-view of Woodstock '99 that weekend. And I remember we were watching Korn, and that pum 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 pum, and when it started, that sea of people was insane. I'll never
Right.
forget that.
So that's like 99. So you graduated high school when?
03.
03.
Probably
Okay.
3 or 4 years
So
old.
when does coming up, you learn to play guitar like late grade school and through high school, but it's not like, you kind of know you can start a band and play a gig. Like comedy kind of comes a little later, right? Because
I always watched it. My dad watched it when I was a kid, and I was
Right.
like intrigued by it. Like even a young kid, my dad would watch the comic relief specials that were like Whoopi Goldberg, Billy Crystal, Robin Williams, and he loved Letterman and Leno. So I was watching these people, and I'm young. I'm like 5 or 6, watching these comedians, and my dad's laughing, and the crowd's laughing. And something stood out to me, man. I was super young, but that stand-up stood out to me. But then, like in high school, I watched so much Comedy Central,
Right.
And I just watched.
But when does it come into your head as something? I'm going to do that. So because we're at that
Probably
age,
in high school.
high
because
school.
In high school, I had a notebook, which I still have, that I wrote funny, silly, goofy ideas and thoughts down.
Right.
And then when I was 19, I was going to Temple. I started seeing comedy live for the first time, and I was like, oh, I'm trying this. I saw Comedy Central live at the Tower with Dave Attell and Louis Black co-headlined. Mitch Hedberg was the middle act. Rest in peace. And Mike Birbiglia was the MC. And I was in the front row of the balcony at the Tower, and I was like, I got to try it. I heard 3,000 people were fucking laughing. All the comics were murdering, and I was like, I have to try this. And then almost 10 years to the day after that show, I got to perform at the Tower, opening for Sebastian.
Hell yeah.
That's amazing. And so you got started at Temple, you would say? That's kind of when you started gigging out?
Right at the beginning of my sophomore year, I did my first open mic, yeah.
Wow.
The Laugh House on South Street.
And you were in the city at Temple, so it was easy to kind of dip in and out of the open mics that were happening around town.
Yeah, for the first few months, I just did the Laugh House on Wednesdays because I didn't know anybody or anything. But then once I started to make a few friends, they're like, oh, this is on Mondays. Go to this bar on Thursdays. And then I started to bounce around.
Now, is there still a local scene that you're involved with, or is it more kind of the national guys, or is there
yeah, there's a lot of funny comics in Philly and a lot of stage time. I don't get up in Philly as often as I would like to.
Right.
But I'm lucky enough to have the road in my back pocket. But I mean, there's a really good scene here right now and a lot of funny people. So
we did that event together at Paxton Hollow a few months ago.
February.
February, where I played music, and then
one of my favorite. It's my favorite and least favorite weekend of the year because the things that are the most stressful are the most rewarding.
Yes,
that show I spent 2 months putting together, and my heart is beating out of my chest, and I have diarrhea, and I dread it. But then, it's also the fucking best.
We had a great.
Dude, it's
couple nights there, and you brought some amazing. Thanks, bro. You had some amazing comedians with you too.
Thank you, man. I switch it up every year, so it's really fun.
That's awesome.
Buddy Harris,
and Andy Nolan.
Yeah.
And you played like an opener set.
Yeah. I had
awesome.
Mike playing as the crowd came in and were just being sat.
Yeah.
And that Saturday show, man, people were like fucking hooting and hollering, and like they were getting into it, and I could tell. You could feel the energy in the room.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was great. I was playing as people were coming in, getting settled at their tables, and there were so many seats.
And you knew a lot of people there, too. So
yeah, I mean, what was it,
you
like 200, 300? It was like a big ballroom.
Friday had probably about 150, and Saturday probably had like 220.
Okay, but it was a big enough scene where people were running into each other, and it was kind of like, see who's around.
And you were playing right in front of the Desi's.
Yeah.
There was like 44 of those there.
Yeah, shout out Desi's.
So like they come to Helium Paxton every single year.
Do they really?
Mm-hmm.
But it was great. I played while people kind of got settled in and got their drinks and kind of made their rounds. And then after I'm playing for a while and it got time for the show, people got all the kind of chit-chat out of their systems and were able to sit down and enjoy the comedians.
That's awesome.
Respectfully. It was awesome. It
I
was so well done.
On Saturday, I think you had to play like an extra 15 minutes. And
you better charge them.
And I
he made it worth my while. Yeah, Pat's my boy.
I wanted the show to start on time, but I was like, man, if Mike plays 2 or 3 more songs, they're going to want the show more. So it's almost best to like, I don't know. Maybe
if he tortures them for 2 more songs,
a few more minutes.
That's the whole like, Guns N' Roses effect. Like, we heard he didn't show up, and it gets the crowd even more amped. Or like, start a rumor out there, like, I don't know if they're going on. Then, bam, they go into Welcome to the Jungle. It's like, the release, tension, release.
Apparently, that's my technique. I use at a lot of shows. Are you going on? I thought music started at 4. Yeah,
except you're just drinking Jameson in the corner.
I thought music started at 4. Are you going on?
I did an opener for a comedy thing. Well, for Tommy. We did one thing, Tommy Pope. So I opened up and he went on after. And then I did something down the shore where I played first and the Aunt Mary Pat came on. And they both killed, so it was cool to kind of.
Where was those shows? Were they comedy clubs or were they?
No, with Tommy, it was at Springfield Country Club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then with Aunt Mary Pat, it was at Kicks in Seattle City.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was cool. I mean, it wasn't, our shows weren't connected. It was just eye-opening, and it was cool. It was kind of, you get your music in, and then it kind of sets it up. So they knocked it out.
I've come to discover that with the Paxton shows, live music as the crowd's coming in is just so much way cooler than just having something over the PA.
Yeah.
It's live, it's interactive, it's just like, it's real. It's like, so much cooler.
Yeah, it worked really well.
Blondie play over the in-house system.
Have you ever thought to kind of tie in your music, like your guitar playing, like into kind of like a Flight of the Conchords ish? No,
Absolutely not.
Okay, yeah. I just because you
Such
see
a
that
fine
something.
line.
Right.
Like, I feel like most, just my opinion, most musical comedy is absolutely terrible. I love Tenacious D.
Sure.
Flight of the
Yeah,
Conchords are very funny.
Yeah.
I fucking love Weird Al.
Yeah.
I'd put Weird Al in my top 10 artists of all time. But like when I would do open mics and some jerk off would have an acoustic guitar, I'd be like,
Wonderwall.
I'm gonna go to the bar. Like, I'll be back in 5. There have been funny comedy musicians, but I'm such a purist. I just love stand up.
Right. Yeah. You're dancing a fine line into like being the dude with the guitar, like which you don't want to be in comedy. Also, like now I'm gonna play Wonderwall. Like no.
Let me ask you this: do you make it a point to be funny for your banter in between songs?
The attempt is there, but I'm not typically thinking of what I'm saying while I'm saying it, and not all of it lands.
Yeah,
Mike's funny when he plays. I would say Mike's funnier than I am.
Listening to a few weeks ago. I was listening to Richard Marx on Gilbert Gottfried podcast, and Richard Marx, his last tour or two, I guess, he would tell stories in between songs, and he noticed that the stories were funny and the crowds would laugh. So he started like honing an act, and he told Gilbert, he's like, I'm having more fun telling these stories in between songs than I am playing my own hits. So I thought that was kind of cool that like he doesn't want to be a stand-up. He's not encroaching on anybody's territory, but he was having so much fun making these stories better and funnier. I thought that was so cool and so fascinating. And he's like, I'm having more fun. He's like, I played these songs a fucking 1,000 times. I'm only telling this story once or twice. So it was a really cool chat they had about that.
I feel like when you're performing, whether it's comedy or whether it's music, like you're in charge of creating an atmosphere in that room for that set period of time.
Yes.
And especially I feel like doing what we're doing. Like there's no reason for you to incorporate music into what you're doing. But like when we're doing our gigs, it's like I've heard people play American Girl 100 times. Like it's not like when I'm there for this gig or when I'm playing a show, it's like I'm going to be the best version of this you've ever had. But cumulatively over the course of the gig, it's the song selection and it's the banter and it's just those are my few hours just to kind of establish.
And it's 3.5 hours too. Like so, it's a little bit there. Like you better throw in some something that a joke or some conversation or kind of bring them in because it's just a long day. It's
getting older. I mean, I remember. Like, not everything hits, and because not much thought goes into it, I was playing to a room one time, and it was a younger crowd, and I dropped that line from the movie Dumb and Dumber, like, just totally disconnected, no transition into it. I said, I'm, like, looking for the next song I'm going to play, and I go, I desperately want to make love to a schoolboy. And it was just crickets. And I kind of look up and I realize everyone out there is a little bit too young for that Dumb and Dumber reference.
For the reference,
it was like a 22-year-old crowd, and it just like for no reason I just blurted out that I wanted to bang a child.
Yeah, you also got to commit. Like if you're paging through something and you throw a joke, as you're kind of like they're not gonna. So if you kind of look and you start a conversation, you get their attention and bring them in and kind of in between tell a joke or whatever, or even if it's not a joke, just kind of banter back and forth. It's just you got to commit to it. I think.
Yeah.
If you commit to it, you're in it, and it might not land, but you commit it, and you can at least you're staring at them in the eye and can steer the conversation however you want it to. But yeah, as I gotten older, I found that like I brought comedy into my I'm not trying to, just kind of like
you just riff in the moment, or
everything's ad lib.
I had a reference bomb recently just in conversation, similar to what you were talking about. Are you guys familiar with Big Top Pee Wee?
Yes.
I had a coworker eating egg salad. So I go, egg salady. I had that locked and loaded for 25 years up here. I haven't had anybody eat egg salad around me. This girl's like 22. She looked at me like, what the fuck did you just say to me? And immediately I hated myself for the whole rest of the day.
That's like the Wonderwall line I do, remember? It's, the end of it, it's, and after all... She was only 16, but she was tall. And like people our age will be like, but a couple of the like I did it recently, and it was like whoa, dude. I'm like, dude, oh man, I gotta know my audience.
But she was tall. Oh, okay.
Yeah, dude.
She was tall.
Do you cater your sets based off who's in the crowd?
Yeah.
Do you gauge the room?
Absolutely.
Okay, I do the same
100%.
thing, too. I do
100.
Borgata a lot. They tend to be older, so I do cleaner material. And my stepdad is older. He's in his 80s, so I do jokes about him. And I find that it's just more, not palatable, but it's safer for all of us.
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to get laughs. It's cleaner, and I can get by without,
Is he funny? Your stepdad?
inadvertently.
Yeah, that's great. They're the
He
best
does.
kind.
He does
Best
say
kind.
funny things, but
Yeah.
the older he gets, like the goofier shit he does.
Right.
Like he'll just some of my funniest stuff comes from him. And he doesn't even know.
Yeah.
It's the absolute best. He knows all the jokes because he comes to shows still.
Yeah.
So he hears it all, but like the best. Like just for example, he wasn't wearing his hearing aids one day, and I'm like repeating everything. I'm like, John, hearing aids. He goes, heard enough yesterday. I was like, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah,
That's a T-shirt if I ever.
yeah. When I'm doing my
It
stuff,
was my second album, which I had plenty of T-shirts of. I Heard Enough Yesterday was my second album.
Oh yeah, I knew I heard that somewhere before. I celebrate your catalog pretty vigorously.
where can we
Pat.
where can we hear all that and then get Spotify, all iTunes?
iTunes,
Okay.
Amazon. The first two albums are on Spotify. Number 3 is not. 'Cause
Okay.
There's a whole legal stipulation going on with that nonsense.
So Pat House Comedy, iTunes, boom,
Absolutely, just Pat House. Yeah,
awesome. Yeah,
And also, I mean, you're a big music guy. You love the band Queen. We talked about that earlier.
favorite band of all time.
So your Instagram handle.
Bohemian Pat City.
yes.
And that was my AOL AIM screen name when I was 13. That's how far back that goes. I've had that for probably 20 years now.
Mine might have been
More
Half
than.
Dog 69.
Half Dog 69.
We made a Queen
so.
reference last show. Remember when I lost a little bit of weight? I was about 240 and feeling myself, dressed
Oh,
like
yeah.
Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, in a singlet,
Yeah.
a deep V singlet.
But I
My
lost
dad
like
saw
20
Queen at
pounds.
the Tower in that era. I know.
Yeah.
Yo, rest in peace, Tower Theater too. Jeez.
Well, no, didn't they just take the
They just
thing off?
removed
They just removed the
The jaw
tower.
off the
So it's
jaw.
not. They're not coming back, right?
Who?
The Tower Theater's finished. Am I right or wrong?
No, they just
you're
took the
wrong. They
Okay,
just
good.
They just took the tower off of it.
Thank goodness. As soon as that left my mouth, I was like, well, I kind of heard something a year ago, but nothing since. Why was I very confident with that? But the Tower's a great spot. I'm happy to hear that's coming back.
A lot of I saw Smashing Pumpkins there.
I saw the Pumpkins Head. That was 2007.
Yep, and I saw Ray LaMontagne, and he was by himself, and he's like really chill, but it was so chill. Like it was kind of like too chill.
Yeah,
Like, it was-
zero edge to it. Where it was kind of,
It was just like he knew how sexy his voice was, and
and that's what it became.
it became like just him showing, like just real slowing everything down just to feel his vocals. So and I was just trying to feel
man,
some
A
tits.
lot of good shows there. Comedy and music, man.
Saw Radiohead there, and I was first row of the balcony for Radiohead in
First
2006.
row of the balcony is the fucking best.
It's
Oh
the
my
best.
God.
You sit down. I mean, whatever. I love
You
to
can
give
put your
energy
foot up.
back
You-
to the stage.
You can like
Yes.
lean on the railing and
Yeah.
be comfy leaning forward.
Look, I'm all about giving energy back to the stage as well. But like, if you can
very
sit,
important.
if you can sit down unobstructed. But a lot of times when you're standing up at like something like that, it's because I have to. But if you're first row of the balcony, you can sit,
Yeah.
and it's like you're the king, and they're in your court, and they're just performing for you.
I remember my dad took
Foot
me,
up, awesome.
Oh, my dad took me to a lot of concerts when I was in my like teens and everything. And my dad would be like, "Are there seats, or is it standing room only?" And I'm like, "I don't know. We're just gonna stand." And now that I'm like getting older, I'm like, "I hope there's seats."
Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah,
get it.
fuck
I already
that,
turned that
dude.
corner.
So Queen's number one, and then what? Anything?
Queen, Beatles, Foo Fighters are definitely top 3. But I mean, like you guys as well. I can name a million people I absolutely
Right,
love.
exactly, yeah.
And Weird Al, and they're like diverse. Weird Al, Social D,
Yeah.
Billy Joel, Talking Heads, REM,
Night Swimming is one of my
Night Swimming.
all time. Like
is-
alone in the car if I want to cry.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
and I'll cry. I'm very
If I was an MMA fighter, that would be the worst song to come out to. Night Swimming.
I'd lose my shit.
Night
It's
Swimming.
kind of like when
deserves a quiet night.
McGregor comes out to fucking then down the Glens one Easter morn.
Foggy Dew.
Yeah, dude, I lose my shit. I go back to the troubles like I'm in the IRA about to fucking bomb a fucking post office.
Have you heard the Sinead O'Connor? Does he come out to that one?
Yes, he comes
Fight
out
the
to
real
that.
enemy.
Then he goes in the Notorious B.I.G. So it's cool. He kind of cuts him in half, but that Foggy Dew, man, with the Chieftains, yeah.
Like, if
Yep.
you're an MMA fighter, what's your walk down music?
I thought of this. I like that song. Down in Mississippi, when it's going to keep so, and it's got to give it up and they give it up and then give it up and they never ask why.
Saul Red?
Daddy was a rolling stone. Oh.
No, I forget the name of that song.
I forget what it's
I know.
called.
Saul Red's with Gwen.
With Gwen Stefani, yes.
Yeah, I don't know what that's called.
Yeah, I forget what it's called.
It's like something like I never knew the name of it.
Just ate me, cooked up Kentucky Fried Chicken inside on me.
Yeah. It's a hellified way to start your day.
I'm going in there and fucking dudes up after that. Only see what you
I
want
can
to
hear the
see.
whole song too. All three of us are blanking on it.
It has a weird name that like I don't even think they say the lyrics in the song.
Well, on the video,
That one, Pat, what's your walk
we'll have to
down?
flash it on the bottom.
You're an MMA fighter. What's your walk down music?
Oh man.
All right, so you get a second to think about that. So, Mike, that song, if you're an MMA fighter and it comes out, the Bennett, it's like the fast ska,
yep.
are you still walking to the octagon?
No,
or is this a full sprint?
Full sprint. I slide under the
Nice.
middle and I'm fucking up the ref and everybody. Like there's a
Ooh.
fight before.
Rough start, but I mean,
I'm
I
going
like
there.
where your head's at.
So you're disqualified before the fight even starts.
No. Everything's
This
broken
is-
up, and then they're like, "Oh, dude!" Like I go in there. It's kind of like starting to fight with the big guy before he starts it with you. You create such hysteria that everyone's scared, and they think like, "All right, there's
Talk
something
to us
wrong with
about
this person."
jail survival.
Jail survival. I learned one thing in jail. This is the one lesson I learned because in 48 hours they just let me go home again. But I remembered, or two things. I was in the bathroom at George W. Hill, and I was going to the bathroom. Not to be too graphic.
Pittsburgh?
George W. Hill, Lima,
Oh,
Delaware County. Or
Juvie. Delco
no,
Juvie.
it's not Delco Juvie. It's Delco George W. Hill. It's the prison.
Sorry, man. I don't know.
It's Thornton, Thornton, PA.
just keep out of jail.
Right by the Wawa.
busy
So I
keeping
remember
out of
going to the
jail.
bathroom, and the guy goes the next. He's like, "Yo," I'm like, "Yo." He's like, "Can you give me a courtesy flush?" I was like, I never went to the bathroom anywhere other than my house. So to this day, if you're in a store or something, you give a flush. So there's nothing.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Second thing I learned was I was in the bunks, and I thought the TVs were just all of ours. So it's like 12 o'clock, and I was always a night guy, so it's like midnight or like 1 a.m., and everyone's sleeping, and I see the TV still on, it's a channel. I switch it to South Park. This dude, he had to be like 60, shot up from the bottom bunk and said, "Don't you ever touch my TV again." And I was like paralyzed and feel like I'm sorry. I thought that was he's like, don't ever touch my TV again. And then he went back to bed. And then I realized, I asked somebody, I'm like, these TVs aren't like community? And they're like, no, commissary, people pay for them. So I changed this guy's TV, like not knowing the rules.
Jeez.
So two things. Don't touch the TV when you're in there, especially if you're just a fucking suburban kid like me. And then two, courtesy flush. And you got to kind of know your times. You like if you're in there using it, you got to, and then you go away when your cellmate has to do his stuff. You're not on top of each other. It's
Well,
respect.
No, maybe not voluntarily.
Yeah. So do you know your song?
What about if I just stick with my normal stage song, which is The Ocean?
Zap?
Oh, man.
And what's your
Such a
walkout like? A focused walk with intent? A jog? A sprint?
It's a medium paced walk, and then I look at the front row and say, "Oh, they're gonna hate me," and then I refuse to make eye contact with anybody until I feel comfortable.
Perfect.
Almost 20 years in, I still refuse to look at people until I feel I'm in a safe spot.
How about you, Hef? What are you going into?
Victory by Biggie.
Yeah.
Victory by Biggie. The way I let it build, and I don't emerge from the back until the beat, the drums actually starts. Like it's just like the strings, and it's super epic because people know that that's my song.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
Undertaker music, like they hear that bum, 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 and they're they know it's me.
Dun, dun, dun,
And then
dun.
on the screen, it's just a montage of me training in the fucking forest, and it's just this whole thing.
I wish I had said Goodman Brown.
It's a whole thing, and yeah, and like when the boom from the commission, boom,
Yeah.
pyro goes off, I do a whole full sprint down to the
Do you
stage.
go under the bottom rope?
It's an
Oh, right, the
octagon.
cage.
Yeah, the
That's
cage is open. So I've got a few trusted advisors with me,
Yeah.
and a Catholic priest with the sprint as well. So I've got my camp and a Catholic priest along with it. And the idea is he can offer last rites to my opponent if they want it.
Wow.
You know who had a
Fucking
great
gangster.
MMA joke? Luke Cunningham.
Shout out Luke Cunningham.
Shout out
On
Luke
Senior
Cunningham.
Bonner.
Absolutely. That's why I mentioned it. He had a joke about MMA fighters, and he said, like, you're never going to fight in the octagon who you want to fight. Your father. It was such a great joke.
It's
Luke trains jiu-jitsu out in Malibu now. Could you imagine?
Yeah, wasn't he a coxswain for rowing, too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
wait.
I don't know if he was a
never
coxswain. He wasn't a coxswain because he's
the dude
so tall.
was 6'5",
but he rode. He rode for Brown.
Yeah.
Oh, Richie Redding, another comic, was a coxswain who was not nearly as tall as Luke.
Yeah. Coxswains, like they picked them as like the smallest kid in school.
Marcus McElhenney was a coxswain
Yeah, Marcus
and a
McElhenney.
United States Olympian.
Lansing,
and we're all
yeah.
very proud. Shout out Marcus McElhenney. Yeah, as big as Luke Cunningham is, imagine him with the tools of a jiu-jitsu practitioner. It's not a cake I'd like a slice of.
Yeah, and also, you get your ass beat by a children's book author.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no coming back from that. Yeah, when I go in there and I'm like, I totally blow my load. I'm so exhausted because I started a fight with the ref, their team, the announcer.
You're
I'm catching my
gassed.
breath. I'm gassed and I just get fucked up. I get worked like the first round, and then stretcher, the whole deal.
I was a big fan of old school UFC, and I remember there was this Hawaiian guy, Kimo, and his Kimo, and his entrance the one time, he was a devout Catholic, and his entrance the one time was he had a cross, a full giant size cross over his shoulder, and he kind of recreated Jesus carrying his cross down to the octagon, but it took him like 4 solid minutes. And by the time
more sacrilegious than anything.
Right. It doesn't sound like a tribute.
Like it's mockery. Yeah.
Almost, yeah. And he was gassed by the time the fight started. He lost. And then the announcer's like, clearly, his ring entrance was just too strenuous.
I was Jesus Christ for Halloween once at Millersville. We were all
That's
like 21,
sacrilegious.
and I know I had the crown of thorns. A buddy of mine who could build shit built a cross.
Did you have a Mary Magdalene with you? You were holding
Yeah,
hands
I had
with?
a few. I actually have a picture of a Mary Magdalene, absolutely. But my big thing of the party, like, in college, you have those basement parties where they're not. I fell 3 times. So, that was my big joke that, like, all right, I walked around, but then finally I'd go in the character and fall. And they'd be like, that was the first. And the second one, yeah. Yeah, and by the end of the night, I was just in a robe and a crown of thorns. And my cross. Inri, right? INRI? Whatever the fuck that means. Whatever the fuck that means.
Look, Jesus is over there in the corner hitting a triple. He's getting to third
Look at
base
him.
over there in the corner. Jesus
Doing
Christ.
a balloon. Look at him. He's doing balloons. He's got 2 broads with him. Yeah,
Were you there when they...
shout out Millersville.
I have a show in Millersville on Sunday.
You're kidding.
This upcoming Sunday, yeah.
Where at?
That's one hell of a segue.
The Chameleon? Oh, no, that Chameleon is Lancaster. Chameleon Club.
Chameleon is Lancaster.
Yeah,
Still there?
Millersville.
Still there?
Yeah, it's still there, man. Yeah, that's where I went, 2000 to 2004. Great school. It was great because it was just far enough away to be away, but if you needed to get home for, like,
Phantom Power.
Imperial Pizza, you could be home. That's where?
Phantom Power, 121 West Frederick Street.
Yeah, Frederick Street. Yep. You're at Millersville.
Shout out
Yeah.
Frederick Street.